You to Harvey's Rental, 1409 South George Street, right here in York. WOYK News Time is 6:35, and we're joined this morning by Ted Czech, good friend, former journalist, and author of Saving the Beast. A recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. Good morning, Ted. How you doing?
Hey, Gary. Good morning. Great to be here.
Great to have you in this morning, my friend. And, one of the things that we see right now, you were part of the media, written media for a while, a long time, actually.
Yes, I was.
And we see now where media trust is at an all-time low. And, what's going on here as you kind of analyze it, looking back on your days of writing and looking at what we're seeing right now in the written media out there and other kinds of media as well?
Well, Gary, as I said in my book, people are frustrated. They're frustrated. They're fed up with the media. They have been for quite some time, and they're taking their time and their money, and they're going elsewhere. They're going to independent and citizen journalists that have risen up in this vacuum that's been created, and we're just kind of seeing. I just saw the other day ABC laying off 200 people. They're shuttering a website known as 538, which is a data-driven poll type website, very popular during political when we've had elections.
Right.
But they're shuttering that website. So we're just seeing it play out here right in front of our eyes.
And we're seeing places like CBS, other places like that shutting, taking out a lot of people. A lot of people aren't watching that kind of thing anymore. A lot of people aren't reading newspapers the way they once did because you can get a lot of that stuff online. The one danger, though, and I wanted you to talk about this if you could this morning, Ted, you said about turning to people who are online. And in so many cases, you turn places sometimes, A, that are going to agree with your opinion of what's going on and make you feel good and cuddly, and B, sometimes some of these people that are online really aren't that good. And so there is a danger there from leading what used to be the most trusted source, what was supposed to be the fourth estate, and now heading off into the wilderness of social media and, getting kind of caught up in some people that maybe aren't quite as honest as they should be as well. Your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's the old Latin phrase, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. So I think that, we've been through a loss of innocence. So now people are analyzing everything that they're reading and they're hearing. We're not in that Walter Cronkite era where, he's America's grandpa and we're going to believe everything that comes out of his mouth. We can't return to that. It's just not going to happen. That's not the reality anymore. And so I think people are using their critical thinking, that we've been blessed with, and we're using our critical thinking, and we're not just going to be, we're not going to believe everything that we read and that we hear. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. We pride ourselves here on conversation and examination. That's what I like to do this morning is examine a little bit. What do we have today in terms of the media? There was a time where we said, okay, the media, as we said, was the fourth estate. The media was there to kind of check the government. It was there to make sure we have straight up, honest reporting. I know you tried to do that a lot when you were doing media at the time. And
tried to, yeah.
You try, you go at it with an honest kind of look at it. You have a pretty good chance you're going to have some truth coming out of there. Today, we have mixed in opinion into the reporting so much, or a particular side many times, that when guys like you come along who are reporting the straight facts, it's tough to discern which one is the way we want to go. And then I'm wondering, with the entertainment aspect that we have today and everything, if we really even want straight up facts anymore as a public that consumes media. In other words, do we really want to just hear just the facts, ma'am, just the facts, as Joe Friday said in Dragnet? I don't know. Where do you sit on that right now, Ted?
Well, I think a lot of people, understandably, might, sometimes they don't realize that the media is a business. It's a business, and it's you could say it's a service to the public.
Right.
So you have to sell newspapers, you have to sell ad time. So there's probably always going to be that element of just somewhat of an element of sensationalism. because you want to attract attention, and it's tougher now than ever before to get eyes on the product. But I did look at some headlines online following Trump's speech that he had. And I got to give credit where credit's due. CNN and the Washington Post, they had headlines that were pretty much right down the middle. They just said, the headline said, more or less, here are some takeaways from Trump's speech. That's about as fair and objective right down the middle as you can get. Here are the takeaways.
Right.
I was pretty impressed with that. Now, then you had people like NPR that said, well, Trump says he's just getting started. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
But there, then you did have people like Reuters who said he was combative, and The Guardian said, it's like he was running a campaign rally, even though he can't run again.
Yeah, right.
And Time called him the troller in chief, which, I would have to agree with that. He is. He thrives on that. He thrives on trolling his enemies. So I think we're already seeing, a bit of a change here with the mainstream media.
What do you attest that to? Is it the fact that he was elected and that he's there, he's their reality now, where maybe they didn't want him to get in, and now he's in. You say, okay, now we got to deal with that. So let's get back to trying to be as fair as we can, so we still have access. Or, is there something more to it than that?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think it is the Trump effect, if you will. I think there's some of that there, and then also kind of what I was talking about earlier, where they're hemorrhaging viewers and readers, so therefore they're losing money, and so I think this is the realization. Hey, you know what? We need to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on pushing an ideology, and we just need to, instead of telling people what and how to think, we just need to play it right down the middle and be objective and lay it all out there for people and let them decide. So I think it's a bit of both there. I
think it's a great point that trying to be objective. I think it's hard because we've been in this kind of opinion journalism for a while now, and we've kind of melded the op-ed page into the news page, and you used to have kind of, well, never the twain shall meet, but I'm not sure if that was ever reality or not. But I think we're trying to maybe get back to that to some degree. By the way, Ted Czech has written a book called Saving the Beast, a recovering report reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. So how do you fix it now? Are you seeing the beginnings of that from what you said a few moments ago?
I think so. I think we are seeing that, and but then again, we are seeing still some pushback. We had Jake Tapper from CNN. This guy was one of the main or chief people who hid or helped to hide Biden's cognitive decline,
right.
And yet now he has a book about the cover-up.
Yeah.
You don't get more hypocritical than that. So we're still seeing that, but I think in general we are seeing some positive movement towards getting back to what I call true journalism.
Now,
it's refreshing.
Yeah. Now, you were a guy who helped to report the news before. So what would you tell people who are trying to consume the news now? What would you say to them? And you say, okay, here's the best way to go about getting at the truth if you want to try to find the truth. What would you say to them, Ted?
It's going to take critical thinking, and it's going to be time consuming because you have to wade through all of this other stuff that still is out there. So you just have to, not rely on the echo chambers. Not relying on just going to the websites or to the news sources where what you believe is just being repeated back to you. You need to get a widespread, if you will, kind of the shotgun approach to consuming your news.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it takes time going through the various kinds of news, and I like to read through all different kinds of accounts, and somehow I think we have an intuition that's built in. I think we have a sense of what is true and what is not. But the other thing I do, I always look for words in there. Are there a lot of adjectives? If I see a lot of adjectives, I think to myself, Or if I see a lot of adverbs in there, I start to say, are they really reporting the news, or are they giving me their version of the news? Is that a good way to look at it, Ted?
Well, yeah, if I can remember back to journalism school, and it was some time ago, but yeah, the adverbs were not looked upon too kindly.
Yes.
You wanted to avoid those types of words, but yeah, just back to your point, you know. I mean, the way I was taught was, you know, you start with what's called the inverted pyramid, which is the most important information is at the top, and then you go down from there to the kind of the point of the pyramid, kind of the stuff that well, you know, in newspapers, you know, you only have a certain amount of space. I mean, online it's unlimited, but newspapers, real newspapers, you only have a certain amount of space, so you always could cut off the bottom of stories. So the most important stuff, absolutely, was up at the top.
I remember learning that in English class. We were learning about how journalists write, and we learned the inverted pyramid, which I always thought was fascinating stuff. Ted, we're going to be checking in with you each week on different things related to the press and things that are happening around us. But where can people find your book, Saving the Beast, The Recovery Report reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it? This is really worth the read, ladies and gentlemen, so you want to get your hands on it. Where can they find it, Ted?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on any online bookseller that's out there. You know, Books A Million, and Barnes and Noble, all of them. It should be there.
There you go. Great time this morning, Ted. Thanks so much for your analysis. Really appreciate it. Good inside stuff. We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Thank you, Gary. I look forward to it.
Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. Ted Czech with us.